It's factual. I'm not saying it's impossible that they're ignorant and don't know better. I'm saying the men who write these have PhDs, master's degree. They're pastors. They're some of the most well-respected theologians of their day. They can't be that ignorant to think that all men and all women do or don't do this. I mean, some of the chapters where they talk about men's self-exploration, not once do they talk about women doing it. In 50 books, they always talk about how men do sinful things when they're alone. And the adults listening know what I mean by self-exploration. Not one time in 50 books did I ever have a passage that said women do the same. Imagine growing up in an environment as a woman and never seeing confirmation on paper that women do the same things men do. How many women have grown up, been teenagers, become adults, and think there's something weird about them because they're doing things that books have only told them men do? I mean, 80 million people grow up asexual. And what percentage of, 1 to 1.5% are asexual? What percentage within that percentage are aromantic? Where stereotypically, according to Google, aromantic people don't have the interest of romantic love or relationships. Imagine growing up with no desire to have kids, be married, or have a partner, and there is nothing in any of these books about being single unless they're talking about getting through it so you can get married. Being single is not a stage of your life. It's not the entire part of your life. It's just a small part of your adult life until you get over it and get married. Being single in church, you might as well be a leper. I mean, I've been in so many churches and denominations, and I've been in therapy where thousands of people talk about how singles are treated in church. I mean, I've seen the homeless treated better than single people, and that is terrible. I mean, singles are treated about the same as an unwed mother who's shamed on Sunday morning. You're second-class citizens if you're not married by 21. Men, probably 25. I mean, in 7 churches I grew up in, only one had a class for single, unmarried people that wasn't for college kids. So anyone over 22 and less than 30, only one church had a class for young singles that wasn't college, wasn't for married people, and wasn't a men's class. It was a genderless class for everyone. I mean, it's like a unicorn. There's nothing. If you don't get married right out of college, there's nothing. There's nothing for you. Unless you're a volunteer and get busy, there's nothing. They offer you almost nothing. And if you were in a denomination that took special care to provide something for the unmarried graduates outside and after college, good for you. It was not a thing in any denomination I grew up in. It did not exist. And there was no single women's class. Didn't exist. There was a single men's class, but it was usually combined with the men's college class. Because church expects you to be married between 22 and 25. And if you're not married, you can't be in any position of senior leadership. I've never met an unmarried pastor. Any more than I've seen a woman pastor. I mean, it just doesn't exist in the denominations I grew up in. And Men grow up reading these funny books that don't even have factual medical research in the books. Some of it is just made up. Or the facts are so ancient. The studies were done back when Masters and Johnson were alive in the 60s. How they teach men about their sexuality is so effed up. I mean, it's kind of like purity culture. They teach men that everyone is this kind of person. You have to meet this manly alpha role model. And if you don't, you're either queer or you're worse. And that's not my opinion. That's what Southern Baptists drill into their kids. If you're not masculine enough and you don't think about sex every 9 seconds, but they shame you for doing that, but they expect you to do that. How do these men grow up, have normal sex lives, or the lack of it, and be sane people? I grew up in such a sexually repressed environment. My sexuality didn't even emerge into my late 20s. That's how repressed. And the wives, because the majority of people who buy this book are wives. They buy the book, read it first, and then give it to their husbands. If the wives read these books, they're expecting their husband to want sex several times a day, have little to no understanding of consent and boundaries, which aren't even words they probably know about if you're in fundamentalist churches. They expect their husbands to want something all the time, and if they don't give it to them, they're responsible for men behaving in a terrible way. And how does that shape female sexuality? Reading these books on toxic masculinity, unfactual statistics, and downright lying in these books. It's so patriarchal. I mean, it's archaic to believe that every man from the time they're born is a sex fiend. They don't put that word in there, but the stories of people they've met at conferences, they put them in the book. The way they describe men looking at women is inhuman. The way they have to teach men to treat women with respect, and it's not even the right kind of respect. You don't respect a woman because she's someone's daughter or somebody's wife. You respect her because she's a human being without the existence of a man involved. These books can't even treat women like they're something that isn't a part or a combination of body parts. The stories they have in these books are so dehumanizing and so sexist. It's disgusting. I won't even reread these books because they're so gross. And books like I Kiss Dating Goodbye turns marriage into a transaction, turns normal romantic sexual relationships, desires, and behavior into being something you would expect a predator would do. I mean, these books write and record stories where they describe consensual adult relationships, consensual adult sexual events, and they treat it like it's a sin, it's a crime, it's unholy, it's dirty, while They have no stories in those books of kids who survived sexual abuse. They combine assault with being promiscuous, and those things have nothing to do with each other. They heap the same shame on unwed mothers that they do survivors of abuse. Consent doesn't matter in their minds if the content or behavior isn't in a marriage. And growing up in an environment that treats marriage like an idol, because Southern Baptists, I mean, if you're in a stereotypical Southern Baptist traditional denomination, they worship marriage. They worship sex. They worship purity and virginity. It's sick. I don't know how anyone grows up in that environment and has any clue how to have a healthy sexual relationship, or the lack of it. I mean, if you're told you're supposed to be a sex fiend and behave in ways or act out because you're a man and that's just how God made you, that's not true, but that's what they believe. There's little to no room for accountability, almost no room at all for holding men accountable for behaving like a pig. And women, I mean, they deny that women have a sexuality. And the only time female sexuality is even mentioned in the majority of these books is if you're a wife. If you're a single woman, there is nothing you can do, good or bad, that is permitted. You're not allowed to self-explore. They deny that women even have the desire to do it. They deny that women may not be attracted to men. They deny that not all women want children or a monogamous straight relationship. Women are only talked about if they're the scapegoat for men's inability to create and maintain self-control. They treat women like they're a brownie on a cooling rack that men just have to keep walking. I mean, these kind of environments, a man can't even share an elevator with a woman without something sexual going on, even though there doesn't have to be. I always think of that episode from The Simpsons where Homer's attracted to that woman in the elevator. He can't even ride up the skyscraper because he doesn't know what to do being alone with a strange woman. I mean, these environments, the men it's like they're emotionally underdeveloped. They can't talk about sex, and they react to a woman the way someone reacts to a monster. And it's so dehumanizing how they talk about women in these books, like they have no agency, no autonomy, not even a sex drive. And if a woman that they admit has a sex drive, they don't talk about the person like they would a man. They talk about the woman as though she's a temptation. She's a bad woman because she has a sex drive and knows how to use it, because that's a man's behavior. How are men supposed to grow up in an environment that teaches them that everyone has to be this kind of man, have these kind of desires, have no boundaries, no consent, and talk about assault the same way they do two kids consensually fooling around without being married? It's a wonder these people can even have a healthy, mature relationship.